Today we are driving the 2024 Kia Forte GT. We have a 1.6-liter turbocharged four-cylinder that makes 201 horsepower. That's mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. This is the last year of the Kia Forte GT. This will be replaced by the K4 next year, which we actually just walked around in studio. It was very impressive, very nice to look at. Though, I will miss this Kia Forte GT. We filmed one of these a few years ago and just kind of fell in love with it over the course of a week. And I've got to say, my time again in it this week has reaffirmed my first impressions. This is just a great little car to live with. It's fun to drive. It's got great interior ergonomics. It's still kind of old school Kia in that we still have some of the older design language, switch gear, but everything works well. It's incredibly well equipped for the price. This starts around $25,000. Fully loaded with all the options here, we've got 28 grand out the door. Hard to beat that. Physical buttons everywhere, pretty good infotainment, no wireless CarPlay or Android Auto, but everything works well. We've got a Harman Kardon sound system. It gets 35 miles to the gallon on the highway, 27 in the city. I mean, what else do you want out of a compact sedan that's kind of tailored towards the enthusiast? This is surprisingly quick, pretty capable around a corner, would make for a fun daily driver and canyon carver / occasional autocross car. Let's walk you guys around it. I'll talk about some more things with this Kia Forte GT, and then we'll take it for a drive. This car is painted in snow pearl white. It's got a nice pearlescent metallic flake to it. Looks pretty good with some of the red accents here contrasting on the front grille and lower bumper, as well as on the center cap of these 18-inch wheels. We're riding on a set of 225/40 R18 Majesty Solus tires, made in Korea. The Kia Forte is definitely showing some of its age when compared to a lot of other new Kia products. But still, the packaging inside is very nice. This is surprisingly spacious for a compact sedan. I had my son's forward-facing car seat in here all week, and he had plenty of room to get in, get out. We've got a storage net behind the passenger seat, a couple of climate vents, which you don't see in some cars in this class, rear USB port, and a Harman Kardon sound system, which we'll test out later in this video. Plenty of trunk space too, 60/40 folding rear seats, and we get a compact spare tire. Look at that. Fantastic. You can fold down those rear seats right here. We'll show you what that looks like. Pretty good size pass-through. Got your top tether attachments right here. Those are easy to access. They just fold up and down. None of the materials in here are groundbreaking, but for the price, for under 30 grand, this feels pretty darn good. You even get the classic Kia detonator key right here, as first seen in the Kia Stinger. A little bit more sporty, a little bit better looking than the standard Kia Forte. This GT just kind of brings things up a notch. The real difference, though, is how it drives. Let's pop the hood. We'll take a look at the turbocharged 1.6-liter. I'll try to leave the key in here this time so it doesn't keep beeping at me. Again, 201 horsepower, 30 miles to the gallon combined. I've easily been averaging mid-30s on the highway this week, and around town, kind of mid to higher 20s. Nice little engine, really wakes up in sport mode. The exhaust sounds pretty nice, takes 5W30 oil, sounds good for a four-cylinder. Not another soulless turbocharged four-cylinder. This has some personality to it, and I appreciate that from Kia. All right, let's walk you guys around this interior some. We have physical controls for just about everything, and that's probably one of my favorite things about this Kia Forte. Over to the left, we can control our gauge cluster and screen brightness, turn on and off blind spot monitoring, and traction control. Down here, you've got two levers, one to pop the trunk, one to pop the fuel filler cap. Here are your seat controls. My seat is in its lowest position. I wish it went down just a little bit farther, but overall, there's lots of great adjustability here in this Kia Forte GT, especially with the tilting and telescoping steering wheel. Seats are really comfortable. I like the center ribbed section here. Bolstering is really nice, but it's still easy to get in and out of. Auto up-down window for the driver's side, and that's it. Nice flat bottom steering wheel with a GT logo at the bottom. Turn signals all feel quite nice. Great ergonomics here on the steering wheel. We can select our cruise control, lane centering, highway driving assist, following distance settings, all very easily here on the right side. Left side, we've got audio controls, our quick access button, and we can customize that to whatever we want, really, which is pretty cool. CarPlay is nice and responsive. I love how fast this screen operates. Quick to connect, no issues there, just a wired connection. It works. You even get wireless charging up here, which is very nice to see. Don't believe it's turned on right now, or maybe it's just off the element. There we go. Nice little storage cubby right there. Here's what your reverse camera looks like. We have heated and ventilated seats. A few different drive modes: normal, sport, and smart. Parking brakes right down here. And you've got a little bit of storage down here under your armrest. Seat belts adjust, which is nice. You can get that perfect for whatever height you are. Sliding visors. Little sunglass holder too. And here's your sunroof. There's normal mode. Here's sport mode. You notice a bit more of a difference when you get on the road. Let's do that. Let's go for a drive and see what this is like behind the wheel. Great visibility all the way around. No major blind spots. Nice big rear view mirror too. And aside from something like the Volkswagen GLI, this is one of the best tuned dual clutches in this class that I've experienced. It's very smooth off the line, no hiccups, super fast, responsive shifts all week. It's been really, really nice to live with. This 1.6 liter is still pretty torquey, even though it's not a huge displacement engine. Brakes feel nice, good initial bite, pretty decent pedal feel. Don't really have too many complaints about this Kia Forte GT. I guess the only thing I would say is that maybe it's a little bit louder on the highway, but that's kind of something you've come to expect for a vehicle in this class and at this price point. It's no really louder than the new Honda Civic. No auto stop start nonsense here sitting at this traffic light. Got these cool circular vents that turn on and off by rotating them. Probably inspired by the Kia Stinger. Like to see that. Turn signals are a little bit loud, but at least you're not going to ignore them. All right, let's go into sport mode, and we'll do a bit of a launch here. Maybe turn off traction control and stability control. Pretty quick off the line, and you heard those shifts. We get paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. And again, this dual clutch is just about telepathic in this Kia Forte GT. You can feel a little bit of intrusion there from stability control turning into this corner. Fully off is not fully off in this car. That said though, it's still fun, it's still sporty to drive, it handles well. Outright mechanical grip is held back somewhat by these Majesty Solus tires, but you could always put a stickier compound on here. Sport mode I found is actually a pretty decent drive mode to daily this car in. It doesn't keep the revs super high all the time, though it will sense when you're driving spiritedly and give you a few more revs when you're doing that. And you can always just quickly switch into smart or normal mode, which are pretty much the same drive mode. Good passing power too, once you're up to speed. All right, so on the highway, you can hear there's a little bit of tire noise, but not too much road noise from the semi-truck next to us. Wind noise is pretty much kept at bay. All right, back into sport mode. Leaving it in drive. The gearbox is going to automatically downshift a few times as we pull up to a stop. We have slightly more aggressive throttle tuning in sport mode. And you can see just how responsive this engine is. Great manual shifting logic here from this dual clutch as well. That sounds pretty good. There's a bit of induction noise in there. That mostly just appears in sport mode. In normal, it quiets down quite a bit. Different center gauge displays, compass, tire pressure, driving assistance settings, and you can see your fuel economy, accumulated info, speed. It's genuinely fun to drive. Cornering is nice and flat. It will rotate, but stability control will kill all the fun. For a front-wheel drive car without a limited slip differential, it does feel pretty nice and neutral. All right, back into normal mode. Oh, we gotta turn traction control back on. All right, let's test out cruise control here. So we can quickly change our speed right here. We skip 5-mile-an-hour increments as well. You can change your following distance between one of 4 different settings and engage lane centering / steering assist. There's a setting in the menu where you can have lane centering or highway driving assist automatically come on every time you turn on cruise control on the highway. I have that setting disabled just because I kind of want control of when the steering assist kicks in, but it does a great job keeping you centered between the lines. Occasionally you'll get a little bit of wondering, but it takes a few seconds and it figures itself out. Seems to last a pretty long time without your intervention as well. Adaptive cruise control does tend to over-brake occasionally if a car cuts you off or a vehicle pulls out in front of you pretty far ahead. So that is something you have to be aware of. This is pretty much only a system that I use on a highway without a whole lot of stuff going on around me. If there's light traffic, it's a great system to use. Otherwise, it tends to over-brake in a lot of city driving scenarios or scenarios where there's heavy traffic. Everything's super easy to disable. Just a press of a button, you can disable your steering assist, and all these buttons, just ergonomically, they're great. Well placed, easy to find, nicely differentiated. Sitting at about 2,500 RPM here at 70 miles an hour on the highway. Nice. All right, back into sport mode. Let's leave everything on around this corner, see what it does. It's not super quick outright. I feel like with 201 horsepower, it'd be a little bit faster, especially at higher speeds. But it sounds so good, and the gearbox is so responsive, that it's fun. You can switch into manual mode here very easily. Or, I guess this is also a sport mode for the transmission. I haven't really messed with that this week. It doesn't really feel that different from drive when you're in sport mode, the drive mode. I assume if you're in sport mode, it just keeps the revs even higher than it does in drive. I don't know. I don't really notice that much of a difference. Let's see how it is from a stop here. You have lots of shifting options in the Kia Forte GT. Ride quality is pretty good too. A little bit bumpy over bigger impacts, expansion joints, but for the most part, it's relatively flat around corners and not too stiff as a daily driver. Driving around casually, this 1.6 turbo is pretty quiet actually. Shifts are imperceptibly smooth. I have a decent amount of steering feel. I like how the wheel thins out right here at 9 and 3/10 and 2. It gets a little bit thicker everywhere else. Feels good in hand. I like the leather stitching. The perforated leather feels nice too. Kia does do a really nice job with their touch points in this cabin. Even the leather on top of the shifter feels really nice. Let's do a quick sound system test. Hear what this Harman Kardon is like. Honestly, not too bad. Bass is strong, not super clear in the higher registers, but for the money, sounds pretty good in my opinion. The GT2 package in this Kia Forte GT is $1,900. That includes the heated, ventilated seats, a couple other convenience features, the Harman Kardon sound system. It's actually pretty good value keeping this at around 28 grand out the door. All right, so let's sum up some thoughts on the 2024 Kia Forte GT. This is an awesome little compact enthusiast car. It's great value, it's well priced, it's got decent performance, it's got great tech and features, pretty much everything you want out of this car. doesn't look particularly amazing, especially compared to some of Kia's new stuff, and the new Kia K4 is going to be even bigger and better equipped. Though there's something charming about this Kia Forte GT. It's a little bit more raw and visceral and old school, and I think that's my favorite thing about it. The dual clutch is really sharp, really snappy. That kind of makes this car, I think. It's so well calibrated and tuned. I do wish you could turn off stability and traction control fully. Even with everything off, there's still a ton of intervention, cornering hard. I guess the partial solution to that might just be to get a grippier set of tires. The sound system is decent. I love all the physical controls. There is a lot to like here. All of your inputs in this car feel pretty nice. The steering has good feel to it. All of your touch points are nice. I mean, for the money, this is really, really hard to beat, honestly, in terms of just kind of a overall package as a daily. I guess safety ratings aren't the best in this Kia Forte GT. They could be better. But you get a great warranty. I think this is still a very good buy in 2024 for under 30 grand. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.